Welcome, 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 welcome. Yep. Hello, how are you? Yeah, I kind of thought that the Russian prices would go through the roof. And I used to like Tucker Carlson until he went to Russia and he only went to grocery stores that were in Moscow. He didn't even try to go out in the country and visit country people. He did not do that at all. He stayed right within Moscow, took the train everywhere, said how clean and gorgeous their train station is. And I thought, yeah, that's because Russia takes crime very, very seriously. And they lock people up and throw away the key, which is something we don't do. Well, I can't put it that way. Not to the extent that Russia does. We don't have hard labor prison camps anymore, if you know what I mean. Well, let's get down to um, Miss MacGyver, Representative MacGyver. She got charged by Alina Habba yesterday, last night actually. Yeah, I agree with that. The prisoners lead a very cushy lifestyle. I was a volunteer jail chaplain. Their food is provided for them. They get TVs, they get HBO, Cinemax, whatever they want to watch. Um, what else do they get? Free medicine, free health care. They get any book that they want. If they want to learn to be a lawyer, the government pays for them to go to classes to be a lawyer. It's like they're in there to be punished, not to go to school to be a lawyer, right? It's just crazy. Just absolutely crazy. So let's talk about Miss MacGyver. I don't think she's going to be a representative very much longer. Alina Habba last night said all of the charges that she's facing 8 years in prison because it's not just uh, interfering with an ICE officer. There's a whole bunch of other charges too. And I thought, wow, I did not know that there was a bunch of other charges. I hope she gets what she's got coming to her because she was out there yesterday saying that she did nothing wrong. She says, I did absolutely nothing wrong. I was just doing my congressional duty to show up and inspect the Delaney Hall, and I was denied entrance. That's a total lie. She was allowed in and she got a tour. All of that stuff that she did was afterwards because the mayor, yeah, they call it oversight. The mayor was told inside that he was not a um, welcome visitor, they call it, because only Congress people are allowed to come visit, and they have to call 24 hours in advance, and they have to have an appointment. And he just showed up saying, "You're going to let me in." And he walked in with the congressional people. And when they found out that he was not one of the Congress people, they told him, "You have to leave. Tours are by appointment only." And he refused to leave. And they told him inside the building, "If you don't leave, you will be arrested." He refused to leave. They told him, "You are under arrest." And he tried to walk outside. And he was walking away from them, walking outside, when he was surrounded by 20 individuals. And that's when Representative MacIver and others tried to interfere with his arrest and were pushing on the video shows that she was pushing off ICE officers and using her body and body slamming against them to get them away from the mayor. And what did her in my view, is she took her hand up over her head and came down and hit up ICE officer on the shoulder. Yeah, and that same mayor is running for governor of New Jersey. I think he just deep sixed his career, right? Yep. I think they're all in trouble. At least they should be, right? They all should be in trouble. And then idiot Hakeem, that guy's a moron on wheels, said if you lay a finger on any one of my Democratic representatives, there will be trouble. Alina don't care about him. She filed her charges anyhow. And I I can about imagine that Alina was saying, "Bring it, buddy. Bring it." Right? Alina does not play. She does not play. Right? Yeah, it just said on the ticker that MacGyver says the charges are all political and that she didn't do nothing wrong. We'll try saying that in court, right? Try saying that in court in front of the videotape showing what you did wrong. Oh, yes. Stacey Abrams. Another gift that keeps on giving. Well, her, see, her NGO that she owns two of them, two. Prior to, I think it was last year, may have been 2023, prior to 2023, that them two NGOs got $100 a year from the federal government. $100 a year. Last year, they each got $1 billion. And she cannot prove where the money went. And according to Paralegal Institute of DC, this will end her career because in order for her to not get in any trouble, she has to prove where the money went. And so far, there's no proof, of where the money went. Now, the third thing that I've been looking at is Casey DeSantis, Governor of Florida's wife. Her nonprofit last year reported, not last year, in 2022, reported $2 million missing that they didn't know where it was or where it went or anything. She now says she's going to run for governor of Florida. And here's something else. Ron DeSantis basically forced his lieutenant governor to take a job at one of the Florida universities as the president. That position of lieutenant governor has been held open since last July. At the time, Governor DeSantis said at a press conference, said, well, I could just make Casey the lieutenant governor and I could resign and that would make her the governor. That's all about corruption, right? I'm Yeah, I mentioned that a few times already. But people keep saying, no, no, there's nothing wrong with DeSantis. And it's like, this is all about corruption, right? You know, you put your wife in to take your job and you retire with full retirement, knowing that your wife has had money missing from her nonprofit, and you would still do that. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. It's just, it comes across as corruption because if you know that your wife nonprofit has money missing, why would you talk about making her the governor? You know what I mean? Why would you ever do that? Unless you had some plan. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? That the average person would look at that as corruption? Is that a better way to word that? But she's the person in charge, right? She's the CEO, is what I'm saying. She's the CEO. It was her um, nonprofit, so she bears some responsibility for what her nonprofit does. Yeah, but what I'm looking at is that her nonprofit was missing millions of dollars, and they said they couldn't find it. They didn't know where it was. And it would be up to her to tell the board, look, do an audit, find out where that money went. Am I right? And if the board voted it down, she could say, I asked for an audit, and the board voted it down. I used to own a business in Illinois. Hey, Zach, welcome. How are you today? Just talking about a bunch of things today. So, how have you been, Zach? I seen you put taking a break from weeding. It rained here all day yesterday. It started at like 11 o'clock and didn't stop until late last night. So that's what I got for y'all today. We covered we covered Stacey Abrams. We covered Representative McIver got arrested. Well, she hasn't been arrested yet. That's coming. She was charged yesterday. And well, former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms announced her run for governor of Georgia. That won't ever happen. And if they make the announcement on the Golden Dome, uh, it says this afternoon, but it doesn't say what time. I'll go. I'll do a live afterwards, and so we can talk about what that actually means. Because the Democrats are trying to blow it up into something it's not. All right, that's what we got for you today. Take care. We'll talk again later. Bye for now.